They thought humans were extinct, until our Warfleet blotted out. Their skies Admiral Zextar's mandibles clicked nervously as he reviewed the intelligence reports for the third time. The holographic display showed the pristine blue-green world of Kepler 442b, a former human colony that the hegemony had claimed 50 cycles ago. According to their records, humanity had been extinct for nearly a century, wiped out by their own wars and the systematic extermination campaigns of the early hegemony expansion. Initiate orbital bombardment protocols, Zextar commanded, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the bridge lights. This world will make an excellent breeding ground for our larvae. The communication officer, a spindly Vorthon with 6 eyes, suddenly straightened. Admiral, we're receiving multiple hyperspace signatures at the system's edge. Magnitude, unprecedented. Zextar's 4 arms gestured dismissively. Pirates, perhaps, or refugee fleets from the outer colonies. Deploy a screening force to the... Words died in his throat as the main display updated. The edge of the system was alive with energy signatures, thousands upon thousands of them. Ships materialized from hyperspace in perfect formation, their hulls dark as the void itself, marked only by the ancient symbol that every species in the galaxy had learned to fear and then forget. A simple blue circle containing white continents. Impossible, Zextar whispered. The humans are extinct. On the bridge of the UES Remembrance, Fleet Admiral Sarah Chen stood with her hands clasped behind her back, watching the hegemony fleet scramble into defensive positions around humanity's former colony. Her weathered face bore the scars of 100 battles fought in the shadows between the stars, where humanity had spent the last century learning, growing, and preparing for this moment. Ma'am, her tactical officer reported, we have positive identification on the alien fleet. Hegemony 3rd Expansion Fleet, approximately 800 vessels. They appear to be preparing for orbital bombardment of the surface. Chen's jaw tightened. According to their intelligence, nearly 2 million human descendants still lived on Kepler 442b, hiding in underground cities, keeping their heritage secret to avoid the genocidal attention of the galaxy's civilized species. The hegemony had declared humans extinct as a matter of convenience. It was easier to claim empty worlds when there were no witnesses left to contradict the lie. Signal the fleet, Chen commanded. All vessels, implement Protocol Lazarus. Let them remember why their ancestors feared the dark between the stars. The human warfleet spread across the system like a plague of metal locusts. Unlike the organic curves and biomechanical styling favored by most galactic civilizations, human ships were angular, purposeful things, built not for beauty, but for the singular art of war. They had learned from every battle, every defeat, every small victory won in the depths of space where no one else dared to look. Admiral Zextar watched in growing horror as his sensors tried to count the human vessels. The numbers kept climbing. 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 ships. Impossibly, the human fleet continued to emerge from hyperspace, not just warships, but massive industrial vessels, mobile shipyards, and construction platforms that began immediately deploying defensive satellites around the human colony. How many of them are there? He demanded. Sir? His sensor operator's voice cracked. Our computers have stopped counting. The quantum processors are overloading. Conservative estimates suggest 50,000 vessels and rising. The truth that Admiral Zextar could not comprehend was simple. Humanity had never been confined to one world or even one system. When the galaxy had decided that humans were too dangerous to exist, humanity had simply left. They had scattered to the void between stars, to rogue planets and dark nebulae, building not cities but mobile fleets. Generation ships became factory ships. Colony vessels became forge worlds. For a century, they had lived in the spaces between spaces, growing stronger while the galaxy forgot they existed. Every child born in the dark learned the same lesson. The galaxy had tried to murder them all, and someday they would return to claim what was theirs. Incoming transmission, the Vorthon communications officer reported, his 6 eyes wide with terror. The main screen flickered, and Admiral Zextar found himself staring at a human female whose eyes held the cold fire of distant stars. When she spoke, her words were delivered in perfect hegemony standard. But there was something else beneath them, something that made every alien on the bridge take an involuntary step backward. "This is Fleet Admiral Chen of the Human Remnant." "Fleet," the woman said. "You are currently occupying a sovereign human world and threatening the lives of human civilians. You have 30 seconds to begin withdrawal from this system before we demonstrate why your ancestors told stories about the monsters that hunt in the dark." Zextar's mandibles clicked frantically. "You're extinct. The records clearly state—" "Your records," Admiral Chen interrupted, "are wishful thinking. The galaxy declared us extinct because it was easier than admitting you failed to finish the job. We've been waiting out here, Admiral, learning, building, growing stronger while you grew complacent." The human fleet moved with predatory grace, surrounding the hegemony forces in a sphere of dark metal and contained violence. Each human ship was a miracle of engineering, built by people who had learned to thrive in the harshest environment imaginable. The infinite darkness, where there was no margin for error, no room for weakness. 15 seconds, Admiral, Chen continued. "Choose quickly. You can run back to the hegemony and tell them that humanity has returned. Or you can stay and we'll send your wreckage as our message instead." Admiral Zextar looked at his screens, at the impossible fleet that blotted out the stars themselves, and realized that the galaxy's greatest nightmare had awakened from a century-long dream of revenge. "All ships," he commanded, his voice hollow. "With defeat, initiate immediate withdrawal from the system." As the hegemony fleet fled into hyperspace, Admiral Chen smiled grimly. This was just the beginning. Humanity had spent 100 years preparing for this moment, and now the galaxy would learn what happened when you tried to kill a species that refused to die. The humans were home, and this time, they were here to stay.